Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our presentation, Marketing and Branding Yourself for Board Directorship, Telling Your Story, presented by Theresa Strickland, the CEO of Cheap Home Design and Executive Professor of Business at Santa Clara University in collaboration with Ivy Exec. My name is Mariana. I'm on the higher education team here at Ivy Exec, and I'll be helping to moderate today's session. Before we begin, I have a few brief housekeeping items for our audience. First, all attendees are currently in listen-only mode. However, we do encourage you to engage in the session by asking questions to our presenter, which you can do using the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel. We do encourage questions during the presentation, and we will also have a formal Q&A session during the last 15 minutes of the presentation. Additionally, we are recording today's session, so you can look forward to receiving a copy of the recording via email in the coming days. And now I would like to introduce you to our presenter. Theresa Strickland is the CEO of Cheap Home Design, Chief Customer and Digital Marketing Officer for a major retailer and Executive Professor of Business at Santa Clara University. During her 25 years of management experience, Ms. Strickland has excelled in leading a variety of initiatives for Pottery Barn, Cost Plus World Market, Sears, Kmart and Land's End, and Macy's. As president of Pottery Barn, she led the team that scaled the company from $270 million to $4 billion in growth. In early 2019, she founded and serves as the faculty director to the online Women Corporate Board and Readiness Program at the Silicon Valley Executive Center. Theresa currently serves as a board member to 4 different boards. Ms. Strickland received her bachelor degree in fashion design from Chico State University and an executive MBA from Levy School of Business at Santa Clara University. She has been married for 30 years, has 2 grown children, and lives in both San Francisco and New York with her husband Ty and French Bulldog Macy. And with that, I will hand the presentation over to Theresa.
Good morning. It's very nice to meet all of you. Like many of you, I'm in my home, and so my background is what it is. And I do have a little French Bulldog sitting at my feet, so I'm going to try and keep her quiet for the hour. These are all the things we're all dealing with, right? I'm here representing the Silicon Valley Executive Center today, which is a part of Santa Clara University. And the topic that we'll be talking about is the Women Corporate Board Program. And I'm going to give you a little snippet of some of our class curriculum. This is curriculum that I personally teach. It's about branding and marketing yourself for your own personal statement, for your company, or for what you want to achieve. We've had this program now for the last year and a half. We're entering into our next session, which happens to be online. And the session is May 7th and 8th, June 4th and 5th, and there's the register URL if you want to clip it. We really teach you how to communicate effectively in the language of boards, and we target C-suite level women, vice presidents and above, who have an interest in sitting on boards, or perhaps you sit on boards already and you may want to learn more about it. I'm really proud of our curriculum. What we cover is governance in the modern business environment, roles and responsibility of board members. We talk about the ethics of boards. We address head-on the gender gap crisis on boards, what it's like to be a woman on a board. We teach you how to brand and market yourself. We go through all the finances through a board lens in detail and in more broader schemes, what the committees are on a board. And some of our differentiating gaps are that any woman that signs up for this program is assigned a personal coach and mentor that works with them throughout the session. And then on the very last day, we put you in front of 2 or 3 corporate board members where you can talk about what your aspirations are, what you want to do. They can give you advice, open doors for you, lots of network opportunities here. All right, so I'm going to move ahead. This is just a reminder of the dates and how we break it down: 2 days, 4 weeks off, and 2 days. Those are the dates. In the 4-week break, we give 3 really essential webinars. All right, okay, and what's exciting about this, what we have to offer you today, is a 20% off, and it is $5,700, and it's really nice because you can make that payment in 3 equal installments. You don't have to worry about coming up with the money all at once. It's quite a deal. There's really nothing like this program in the industry. So having said that, I'm going to walk you through what a personal brand is and how important it is for you to brand yourself in the industry. And I'm just going to make sure that my keyboard isn't showing, right? So when we think about branding, we have a tendency to think about it as it surrounds itself around a business. Many of us work in marketing, or we have senior level positions in a company, and we understand the power of the brand. For instance, Pottery Barn, I would tell you, has one of the highest Q-score ratings of a brand in an industry, right? And when we think about ourselves, it's important that we identify our personal brand. How do people perceive us? What is it that they want from us, and what is it that we want to make sure that they understand about us, that we give to them? It's really creating a personal brand. It's the awareness and how you socially follow up to help better opportunities in your career, whether it's in a new job or whether it's in your current company. There might be things about you, tools in your toolkit that they don't know right now that you need to put together. It's not easy, it's a little bit of work, but I guarantee you it's fun work. All right, I'm gonna just move my control center down so I can see my slides. So to develop a unique professional identity, you need to go digital. Today, companies that are using collateral marketing, they're not going to survive. And today, people who are developing a personal brand that is in collateral, that it won't do you any good. It all has to be digital. I'm going to kind of walk you through how to do that, right? So if you're a CEO or you're an entrepreneur, or let's say you're a mother or a father, you have kids, you have a dog, you're trying to get your exercise schedule in, you might say, oh, I don't have time for this. In my day, I don't have time for it. I'm going to suggest to you that it's probably one of the most important things that you would ever do for yourself. And looking forward, by stopping and creating your personal brand, you'll save time in your day. You will be able to make better decisions about who you want to engage with and who you don't. I think about 2 celebrities that have very strong personal brands. One is Steve Jobs. Even though he's been deceased for several years, anytime conversation happens about Apple Computer, his name is still brought up. He is synonymous with that brand. He is still thought as a visionary and as a mover and shaker. And his company has become the largest company in the world. And how about Oprah Winfrey? Her show's been off the air for years now, but her personal brand statement is so strong. She now has a very successful podcast. She can insert herself into areas that interest her, and her name and her brand offers a great deal of value to those areas. So when you look at yourself and you oversee your own career, there is tremendous saturation in the market today. I call it the pot of stew. You could throw your resume or your interest into what you want to do. It's very difficult to stand up. You have to uniquely position your place in the marketplace. And by building your personal brand, it helps you stand out and differentiate yourself apart from competition. And the competition is great, especially right now with what we're all going through with the COVID virus. Many people are losing their jobs, things are slowing down. Perhaps this is a great opportunity for you to take some time and build your personal brand. You need a powerful brand promise, and that comes with a brilliant brand strategy. It's really about what you want to inform others that they have to gain by engaging with you. Your brand promise addresses that expected outcome of engagement, right? It's really what I like to call your value add. What value do you have when you are talking to someone else? So the first thing we have to do is, very much like in marketing, we're going to develop a creative asset brief. Let me break it down more simply as to what that is. That's really determining what your attributes are, right? What you first want to convey to someone else. If you asked me what I convey as my personal brand story, it's that I know how to scale a company. I'm known as a brand and digital marketing expert. What adjectives are those that describe you? You could come up with 10, but you probably should nail it down to 3 or 4 that really describe who you are, right? And what niche in the marketplace do you want to become known? Is it the construction industry? Is it the finance industry? What's your niche in your industry? So you're going to develop a personal marketing strategy. It's done in the exact same way that you do for a company. Now you're going to treat yourself like you would a company by branding yourself. You're going to identify the platforms and all the products that you need to introduce yourself. This is just an example of the Women Corporate Board Readiness Program. It pulls together some simple assets that we put together when we started this program a year and a half ago. You can see that I developed a color story, and we were very true to this color story. The color story is in all of our marketing and our advertising. We included the color story in the logo that I designed for the program. These were very tangible and intangible assets through photography that we wanted to incorporate into the program. Your personal brand statement could also be how you look, what your attire is, how you wear your hair, your makeup, your behavior, your verbal and nonverbal communication. For instance, as an example, if you work in fashion and in retail, such as I do, I'm very conscious of making sure that I'm trend right, that I fit in with the crowd, and that yet my brand stands out, right? If you work in finance, you might have to be a little bit more conservative in how you stand out than I do. I always describe myself that I dress like a boy. It's called the Bohemian boy, all right? So do what you want, all right? Once you've defined who you are and what's important, I'm going to suggest to you that you create a mood board. For those of you that don't know what a mood board is, picture like a cork board or a bulletin board where you can start pinning some things about yourself. Clear it off, start from scratch. Find visual photos that are aspirational to you of maybe other people in the industry or celebrities. Find visual photos that you really like about yourself. Just like the way you look. You're like, that's a good one. What are some quotes that really inspire you? Like, one quote I love is when Ruth Bader Ginsburg says, "Get your foot off our neck and let us proceed," right? What are the colors that define you? Very similar to what I did for the Women Corporate Board programs. What are the graphics? You might then build out a website. There are many people that have their portfolios online today on their website. It might start with a blog. Those assets on your mood board will be on your business card, on your stationery, and on every platform of marketing that you do. You're basically telling a story about yourself. And when you tell a story, people remember it. The rabbis, the priests, the ministers, they all will tell you that they could stand up and preach and give a sermon, and no one will remember what they say until they tell the story. Everybody remembers the story. And so that's what we want to accomplish with you. We want people to remember your brand story. We're going to ask you to think about your marketing mix. Your marketing
Teresa,
mix.
sorry to interrupt. Yeah, I just wanted to jump in real quick and let you know if you want to start maybe your camera on as well, so that attendees can also see you.
Sure, I'm happy to. I just didn't know if you guys wanted to look at my face. Yeah. All right, there I am. All right. you guys can see me. Thanks, Mariana. She's my wing lady, right? The TV, she knows how to do this, right?
No
Okay,
problem.
so I'm going to ask you to choose a marketing mix about yourself that you'll have a consistent message. It's no different than if you work in marketing and you have a program, you put together a mix of where that target demographic is, where you want to reach them, and what your messaging is. So you have to decide on what those mediums are, right, in your marketing mix. It might be LinkedIn, it might be Instagram, it might be on your blog. Where are you going to use a touch base to help get your message across? And what's really important is that you are consistently communicating your unique value. I give you an example. I work with a lot of different companies outside of my own company and then my main day job. And I will see where if I go onto different platforms, from Instagram to Twitter to Facebook to their website, their colors are different, their messaging is different, they're using different images. I would tell you that is a no-no. You need consistency to communicate to your stakeholders, all right? You have to proactively manage all aspects of your brand, and that really ensures that you're managing your brand attributes. It is really easy to get off messaging, to get off brand. We find things all the time, like we'll put up a woman on the Women Corporate Board Readiness site and we recognize she's too young. She's not in our target demographic. We need to change that photo. You just really want to make sure you have consistency. You want to make sure that the pictures that you've put up are you in person today. Have you ever met someone that has a photograph up and you're kind of taken back because, holy cow, she looks 20 years older? Own who your beautiful self is. Don't try and hide who you are. I think that is unhealthy in a brand message, all right? So make sure you are consistent, and absolutely no eggheads. An egghead is the gray face that you see on certain people's sites and platforms because they have not put up a photograph. That could be that they're lazy or they're ashamed of who they are, all right? So what is your unique selling proposition? This is where you really want to make sure you differentiate yourself from others with your messaging. What specific characteristics and fields do you relate to the most, right? It needs to be concise. It needs to be 1 or 2 sentences, something very simple that you can remember. It's almost like creating a tagline. Nike's tagline is just do it. Cost Plus World Market's tagline is one world, one store. It's really important that you create a tagline around yourself. Taglines have a long shelf life, all right? So let me just summarize some of the things that we've been through. Once you've pinpointed your unique brand, you need to communicate it to others. Your goal is to do the following by promoting and managing your personal brand. Branding yourself involves creating a unified message consistently across all outlets. It's crucial that you do that. Take control of your online brand, digital, image by creating your personal website, outlining your achievements, or just start by blogging. Blogging is a hybrid of messaging that keeps people engaged. Your personal brand management should be proactive, and it should reflect what your added value and natural capabilities are, okay? So I get asked this question a lot, and usually in class. Well, how will this benefit my company, or how will it benefit me? Well, let's look at that. There's a phenomenon called the halo effect, right? It suggests that consumers who relate you or certain people to their company, the company will receive favorable advances. Like when I think of Sheryl Sandberg, she's the #2 in command at Facebook. She's the COO. I would tell you that I think Sheryl Sandberg has a very strong personal brand. She's built that brand from some really difficult times in her life, the loss of her husband, the fact that she has become a single mom. She put that brand out there on Facebook and used the platform to share her experience with everyone, right? We as people, we are biased towards those types of associations. Consumers are biased towards endorsements from celebrities. When a celebrity endorses a brand and that celebrity has a strong personal brand statement, it means something, right? And so if you develop a unique personal brand, your company gets the positive halo effect of your success. You also develop in your company a positive effect of how you might better be utilized. It's important to stay marketable. You need to a unique brand statement for yourself that identifies you within the company. They might promote you into a new job. They might put you on special projects that they just didn't realize that you had these brand qualifications. This personal attribute, this help in your career could be within your company or outside your company. What messaging are you putting out? As your awareness increases, you can also be invited to speak at different industry events. You might be invited just to attend events because you're telling a story within the industry that you have wider expertise. So having said that, I want to share just two examples. They're pretty fun examples, if you don't mind, of two women that have created some really strong brand statements around themselves and thus develop them into businesses, right? One is Rachel Parcell. She is a really amazing woman. She started a blog years ago called Pink Peonies. She writes about fashion, beauty, lifestyle. She uses herself as her own model. She has two adorable kids, and you're going to see that Rachel is pregnant right now. And so she's using that as a fashion influencer as well. When I found Rachel, maybe a year ago, she had 93,000 followers. Today, she has 163,000 followers, which makes her an account where marketers want to advertise under her name because she is such an influencer, right? So I'm going to show you her assets. So if you'll just stay with me a minute, I have her all queued up. This is Rachel's website. This is her right here with her two kids. You can see that she has a live blog where now she's talking about the second trimester and she's engaging her pregnancy to gather more followers. She talks about her collection. She's actually selling products. Shop our new spring collection. There's jewelry, there's clothing. She goes into at-home hair, makeup, and skincare as well. And when we look at her Instagram page, you can see that her brand assets, which she's created as her personal brand story, is completely consistent on her Instagram page. Same colors, same photos. You definitely get Rachel's brand. And she's doing very, very well. All right, now let's look at another brand story. I know I have kind of a split screen here, but just bear with me. This is Walter Jeffrey. He is a French bulldog that looks identical to my French bulldog, although mine's a girl. Walter Jeffrey has 769,000 followers. He became very famous because he has this odd cry/bark. Some of you might follow Walter Jeffrey. He is hilarious. I'm going to play this for you so you get a taste of him.
I understand that it's Monday, but like you don't have an office to go into, so what? You literally just woke up and you ate, so like there was no Susan to piss you off.
So you kind of get Walter Jeffrey, and there's this bantering between him and his owner. We don't see her. We only see Walter, but we hear her voice. Well, Walter has so many followers that she has now created a business around Walter Jeffrey, right? Walter socks, Walter merchandise. She has a YouTube channel. She does funny videos where rappers are rapping and then Walter's cry comes in and out. If you don't follow Walter, follow Walter. You'll see some of his merchandise. He's very, very popular. You can get gift cards. There's patches. I mean, her website isn't as strong as some other websites, but I think she's doing a good job, right? She has Walter Jeffrey socks. I just think he's stinking cute. I can't get enough of Walter Jeffrey. All right, so those are examples of two women that have created brand stories around themselves and thus then created business opportunities for themselves. So when you do this, you're ready for the following. You need to identify who's your target audience. Are you looking for a new job? Are you looking to sit on boards? What boards are you interested in? How do they affiliate with your brand? We know that Starbucks has a target audience of coffee drinkers, right? And so they define their message to those coffee drinkers, right? You need to deliver your message to the right place. You want to pay attention to the details. Everything you do ultimately contributes to your personal brand. Once it's live, you need to make sure you're living that brand. Dress that brand in your body language, behave with that brand. You know, the emails you send out, make sure you are consistent with that brand message. And then you want to take that brand message and you want to update your resume, your LinkedIn or board bio. If you attended the Women Corporate Board Readiness Program, we have a 2-hour class on what the difference is between a resume, LinkedIn, and board bio, and we help you build them and why they're so important, because that is outward facing. Anything outward facing, your blog, your social sites, your resumes, that's all your personal brand story. It's your marketing, all right? So just want to remind you, if you're interested in our program, it's a fantastic program. Here is the link where you can go to register. We have 20% off for you. It's $5,700. You can make payments in 3 equal payments. We make that really easy for you. All right. And so I'm now going to stop and I'm going to let Mariana send me questions that you put in, and I'm going to do my best to answer those questions, okay?
Sure. Here is actually the first one coming from Regina, asking, how do you format LinkedIn so that it's board suitable while also job suitable? The target audiences are different in this particular case.
So it depends, Regina. If you're looking for a new job, you still have your brand, you still have your assets, your colors. It's just your messaging that you're going to alter a little. You might start posting articles on LinkedIn, talking about what your value add is, why a company might be interested in reaching out to you to hire you. So your brand stays the same. It's your messaging that gets dialed either right or left. Any other questions?
Yes, perfect. Thank you for this one. Here is another one. What are your recommendations for board resumes, executive bios, and LinkedIn profiles if someone is focusing on obtaining a board seat on a public or private company?
Well, the first recommendation is that you have a resume that's separate from a board bio, which is separate from an original bio. And we teach you how to build a board bio. There's techniques and tools in doing that. So if you are pursuing a board seat, the first thing you do on LinkedIn is in your header, you need to put board member or board pursuit, right? And then with your personal brand statement, you need to figure out what companies or what nonprofits, whatever it is, you know, not everybody's interested in sitting on a corporate board. Some people want to sit on social entrepreneurship boards, right? Then you need to reach out to them, and you want to make sure that you're using your assets, you're using your messaging. But what most people don't understand is that if you're going for a board seat, you don't send over your resume. You want to send over your board bio, but you do want to make sure that your LinkedIn platform expresses that and it talks to you about it. If you sit on current boards, whether they're the PTA or school board, that's board work. It doesn't matter. All of that contributes to understanding that you have experience with sitting and working with other adults. Are there any other questions,
Perfect.
Mariana?
Yes, of course. Here's another one, very interesting. When do I know that I'm ready to pursue a board position?
Oh, that is a good one. And who asked that question, Mariana?
Aurelia.
Aurelia? Okay, well, as women, and this is something that we teach, we're our worst enemies. We say, oh, I'm not so sure I'm ready. I'm not so sure I'm ready. But a man, and I'm not man bashing because I love men, right? But a man wouldn't do that. If you have an interest, then get yourself ready and go for it. All they can say is no. So one of the ways you would know you're ready is to take a certificate class like this, where you get a digital badge and you can put on your LinkedIn platform that you are board readiness certified, right? And so get yourself educated, start talking and networking with people. The problem in the past that we have found with boards, and it's really no one's fault, it's just how it's worked, is that the same board members go to their same group of buddies when there's a board opening. And then they pull that person to another board and that person to another board, and they really don't go outside of their 9 dots. Honestly, the same thing tends to happen with the few women that sit on boards. They get recycled. And what's important is that you make your voice heard and known. If you're meeting with someone and they sit on a board, don't miss the opportunity to say, I'm really very interested in sitting on boards. If there's ever an opening on your board, I would very much like to be considered for it. Actually, can I invite you to a cup of coffee to specifically talk about that, right? If you're working with a company and the CEO or the senior management is looking for a board member, well, why don't miss that opportunity? Why wouldn't they consider you? So your question is, how do you know? You just have to go for it, but you have to put yourself in a position of learning how it is to sit on a board, because it's very different sitting on a board than being the senior management in a company. Your roles are different. You're not there to run the company. You're there to advise the company. It takes a little jump in your step. It takes building your confidence. It takes building your personal brand. It takes practicing with you your elevator speech as to where you add value. And that's what we do in our program. Other questions?
Yes, of course. Here's the next one. Any suggestions or distinctions for how I should think about nonprofit versus for-profit board opportunities? Coming from John.
It's such a good question. Many women want to just jump to a corporate board. They think, oh, if I sit on Microsoft's board, I'll be paid $200,000 a year for that board seat. I'll get stock options. They'll pay for my travel, so on and so forth. That's a good aspirational goal to have. But I'm going to be honest with you, nobody goes from sitting on no boards to a corporate board. It's really up to you. You start with baby steps. We always recommend that you first start with nonprofit boards. You get experience there, you build it under and into your resume, and then you can start being considered for corporate boards. But it also could be a personal statement that you make about yourself. Like, we have one of our facilitators who comes as a senior executive from Stitch Fix. She sits on one corporate board, and that's Eileen Fisher, but she does not have any goals to set on any more corporate boards. She has picked nonprofits and causes that mean a lot to her, and she has gotten herself onto those boards. Now, I will warn you that sometimes nonprofits will ask you to make a donation to a company. Some will, some won't. That's something that you have to sort out. Do you want to do that, or do you not want to do that? And that'll help you make your board decision. But I do recommend that nonprofits or NGOs are a really good place to get really good practical experience on a board.
Excellent.
Mariana?
Thank you so much, Teresa. Yep, we have more questions coming in. Here's another one. I'm connected to a lot of people on LinkedIn, but I don't know most of them personally. How do I best leverage that professional network without seeming like I'm sending blind emails?
Yeah, it's a great question. You have to be careful. There's an etiquette about that, right? And you don't want to make it seem like you're using them. I always suggest that you do a little research, and you can do it right on LinkedIn. If there's a target company that you're interested in, and you're connected to someone in that company, your job is to figure out, who do you know that knows them? And an introduction is always best. Find out someone in your network, and they may not be on LinkedIn, but do a little research on that person. Oh my gosh, our kids go to the same school, or we have the same interest. It could be something as silly as she belongs to Equinox and so do I, right? And then it opens up the door, so it's not such a hard sell. It's okay occasionally to reach out and say, I've been following you. I'm an admirer of you. You have a fantastic career. You're in an area that I've always wanted to be in. I'd really like it. I'm looking for a mentor. I'd like it if we could connect. It's a 50-50 proposition. She may connect with you, she may not, right? But these are different things that you can try. I always recommend, and really the etiquette of LinkedIn, and I'm sure you do too, I get 3 or 4 requests to link with me a day, maybe even more, of people I don't even know with. So the essence of LinkedIn is that you link with people that you have some commonality with, right? Most of those people who are trying to connect with you are trying to sell you something. And so imagine how that makes you feel. It doesn't feel so good to me, but when someone genuinely tries to link with me, I usually will link with them, no doubt about it. So you have to find your crack in the fence, your way in. I hope I answered your question. Mariana?
Yes, thank you so much. Here's another one. Are services that list board opportunities worth joining? Question from Lori.
Would you mind repeating that, Mariana?
Are services that list board opportunities worth joining in terms of, job postings being opened up? Are these worth joining online? I assume that's what Lori wanted to ask.
Oh my gosh, Lori, it's a great question. There are services out there that they'll have 3,000 members. They tell you that they help place you on boards. I think they're worth joining so that you get their newsletter, so that you get the information that they're sending out. But it's really very few and far between women that jump on boards based off of those types of services. It's all about networking. So I'm not telling you not to join those services. I think anywhere you can put your name and create the social media Tasmanian devil for yourself, where people see you here, they see you here, so on and so forth. That's good. But if you want to be on a board, it's about networking. It's about being assertive, making sure that people understand that you want to be on a board, making sure that they understand your value add, that you've put the work into building your personal brand story. You have to be your best advocate. No one will advocate for you the way you do. You have to be able to sell yourself. That's what I mean by a little jump in your step, right? That's what's really important. A lot of people, or a lot of women, are uncomfortable with standing up and bragging about themselves. And I'm telling you, it's okay to do that. Don't be arrogant. There's a really fine line there. But to be able to communicate what your value is and what your accomplishments are, that is not bragging. That's just doing your job of networking and doing it well. All right, Mariana?
Perfect. Thank you so much. Here's another one. We still have more time left. So how is positioning yourself for a board position different than marketing your own business?
Well, it's a great question. So when you position yourself for a board position, you're making it around you. So when I position myself to be on boards, it's around Teresa Strickland. My board bio is about Teresa Strickland. Your company, you're positioning yourself around your company. That is a mistake that companies make when they are marketing the owner of the company and not the logo, the brand, taglines, the persona, what services the company is selling. When I was the president of Pottery Barn, I would get vendors that came to me all the time and wanted to co-brand with Pottery Barn. Well, could you put Mitchell Gold for Pottery Barn on the label? And that just wasn't our brand strategy. We were building the Pottery Barn brand. We weren't engaging in building someone else's brand. And I would suggest to you that you need to do the same. So your personal brand story and getting yourself on boards is all about you. That's why you have to own it, be proud of who you are. Everybody's beautiful inside and out. And really, women need to stop apologizing for who they are. So we hear this a lot too. I'm going to touch on it just a bit. If you're a woman that's strong, that has a point of view, and you're smart and confident, you take heat for that. And you take heat from outside people who think you're just too aggressive, or they use that horrible word towards you. It's the B word, right? If you have the same qualifications as a man, they think you're brilliant, they think you're smart, and you're strong. Women have to stop apologizing for who they are. Own who you are. Just be who you are. And if you're ready to sit on a board, you're at the age in life where you're just ready to let that stuff go. I call it noise. Mariana?
Perfect. Thank you so much. We have more questions coming in. What's the typical decision-making process for filling a board seat?
It's like an interview process. So you would start, first you get yourself in the door, you've networked, they know who you are, and then you'll interview. You might interview with 2 or 3 board members at a time. You might then, after that, move on to another few board members, and then you might go to the chairman of the board. You might interview with the CEO of the company of the board, whether it's nonprofit or for-profit. It is an interview process. Now, board members can be curt and to the point. And so you want to make sure that you answer their questions directly and concisely. And that is a skill that we teach you in this class as well. Because if you go on and on and on, they'll cut you off. And it'll look poorly upon you. And honestly, it'll make you feel bad about yourself. So it's this process that we get you ready for. Mariana?
Thank you so much. Another one coming from Joao. To begin to build a personal brand, what do you suggest when doing digital? When going digital? Start in all platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, or do you suggest a start in one platform, learn, and then expand to all the others?
Oh, I love that question. I love it. I suggest that you go to the platform where your target demographic is. If you take this class, I will teach you about every single platform, who the demographic is on that platform, how you're marketing to them, how many people are on that platform, what times a day they're on that platform, right? I think it's best to be on several platforms. You just have to make sure that you're, whether you call it an ad, whether you call it a post, whatever it is, in the right pixel size for that platform. That's another thing I'll teach you, that you make sure that you're targeting the people, the company that you want to target, right? And today, with platforms like Hootsuite and Sprout Social, once you have created what your post is, you can easily resize them and put them up all at once. You can go out a week in advance and plan your week in advance and make sure that your posts are going out at the right time. It takes about an hour of your week to prepare it. It's the same thing that you would do if you worked inside a company. I'm suggesting to you, do it for yourself as well. So it really depends. You have to know who the platform is talking to, what their age groups are. An example of that would be in Instagram. The majority of the demographic on Instagram are millennials. If you're looking to target people who are 50 and above, you'd be better off on LinkedIn and Facebook. All right, those are just examples. I hope I answered your question. Mariana?
Thank you, Teresa. Yes, we now have some questions as well as comments related to the program. So I wanted to first share this one coming from Carrie Stockstead,
Okay.
who just wanted to share that she attended the program and it was a wonderful experience. She is still in touch with the women that she attended the program with, and she learned so much from all the sessions, so she highly recommends it.
I love that. Thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you. Really great. It's really interesting because there is a LinkedIn group that the women, not us, they started. And so now all the women that take this program join the group. And that in itself is a network of sisterhood. It's really great. Go ahead, Mariana.
Excellent. Well, we do have another question related to the program coming from Latif. She would like to know what is the composition of the class, ages, industries, everything.
Oh, I love that question. So it is women who have at least 10 to 12 years of experience at management level. I don't get too caught up in titles because at one company you might be a VP and at another company it might be director. That's semantics. So I do personally pick who comes into the program. I want to make sure you're successful. I look at that, right? So it tends to be middle-aged women. Some are a little on the more mature side, approaching 60. Some are on the side of in their 40s, right? It is all women, right? The ethnicities are across the board, right? All different people of different backgrounds and colors. The industry is all over the place. We have HR, we have finance. Last time I had 3 people from the construction industry. We have lawyers, we have, COOs. We have so many different people. We have people who have their own business, right? We have people from nonprofits and people from the corporate world. And the facilitators are from all different industries as well. And of course, the areas that they teach have to do with their backgrounds. So it's amazing, who's in there. It's some of the most impressive women who only want what's best for you. You'll get to know them well and have this feeling of closeness with them. Mariana?
Perfect. Thank you so much, Teresa. Do you have? We do have more questions coming in regarding the actual presentation, so I'm going to go back to that as well.
Okay.
People in what roles have higher probability of becoming board members? Is there a threshold to it?
Well, our experience tells us in data, most marketers are data scientists, right? That one of the most sought out demands for a board is CFOs or people with financial background, right? For the audit committees, there's lots of opportunity there. But what we do in the program is that we teach you about all the different committees that exist, and we help you tailor your statement towards your value add and what committee you would sit on. So it really depends on the board and what position they're looking to fill. So they may already have someone or 2 or 3 people that fill their audit committee, but maybe they don't have anyone who understands marketing and branding. Or maybe they don't have anyone that understands compensation and HR requirements, right? So it really fits into those 3 groups. All right, Mariana?
Perfect. Yes,
And
we
if you
have
don't mind, I'm
time.
going to take a sip of tea.
No worries. We do have a few more questions coming in, so I'll definitely make sure we address those as well, if that's okay with you, Teresa. Here is an interesting one. How do you leverage YouTube for branding?
I love YouTube. In marketing, the 2 most important platforms are video and mobile. You have to make sure it looks good on mobile. Video can be used across all boards, all social platforms, whether it's a 7-second bumper ad, whether it's a 15-second ad, a 30-second ad. 30-second is the sweet spot of advertising on YouTube. But when you look at a full video, the sweet spot is 2 minutes. We don't have an attention span that will accommodate over 2 minutes. So you really want to stay right around that form. So when you're building your personal brand, I highly recommend that you build video into it. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You can create B-roll, which is footage, marketing terms, of yourself. You could talk about yourself. You can watch videos about how to do it. You can watch other people that you aspire to do like they do. Well, you know, on my channels, I have videos about myself and about why I'm doing what I'm doing, and so forth and so far. You know, you can learn how to edit those videos. You could do it on iMovie on a Mac. You could do it on Adobe Suites. If you don't know how to use video, go to your local Apple store. They have classes, free classes, on how to edit your videos and enhance them. And I think you'd be surprised how easy it is. And then once you start, it's like candy. You can't stop eating it. So video is very important. YouTube advertising is important. You can demographically target exactly who you're going after on YouTube. There's a different measurement on YouTube. Instead of clicks and conversion, you're really now measuring watch rate. What percentage of the people who watched it at 100%, 75%, 50%, and 25%. So really important. YouTube, most people don't know this, it's the 2nd largest search engine in the world. YouTube's owned by Google, so it makes perfect sense. 50% of us are watching TV on YouTube now. Yeah, lots of cord cutters in the world. I hope I answered your question. Mariana?
Lovely. Thank you, Teresa. And here's an interesting one. I think we can wrap this session up with this final question, if that's okay with you, Teresa. Post-COVID, the global economy will change in terms of economies. Does your course prepare us to position ourselves to become board members of companies with raising economies, say a board of fintech of a South Korean company or similar?
Yes, it does. It's a great question. Anything in business is directly related to what's happening in our governments, in the environments, the social economic environment. And so our class course, we're taking examples from what we're all living through. I don't know what the new normal is. None of us do. But I'm just proud of how we're all handling it in general. And so yes, we are adapting our conversations toward what we're going through. I mean, even today, you know, the fact that I'm in my home, I have my little French bulldog sleeping at my feet, I'm drinking tea, right? All of you are doing the same. That's a new environment for us. I don't think we'll ever go back to how it used to be. I think that companies are learning that maybe we're a little gun shy, that technology can really help you run your business. Well, technology can really help you build your brand persona. And yes, we are adapting that into the course. It's very important. Thank you for asking that question.
Thank you so much, Teresa.
Okay.
Yes, well, we actually have a few more questions. I don't know if you're still open to it, so I can certainly share.
I have another 5 minutes. I'm happy to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope I'm answering the questions. Yeah.
Yes, yes, people are really thankful for your insight, and definitely love the presentation. So we'll share that later on. But here's a rather interesting question. Being a person with an accent, what advice would you give for someone who who's dealing with that?
Oh, it's such a great question. We work with you on that. That's where your personal coach will help you. I'll give you an example. We had the most amazing woman. She was from Italy, and she had a very strong Italian accent, and she used little anecdotes that is very common in Italy, but not necessarily common here. And so we worked with her on her speech pattern, and we practiced with her on slow down. It's the same thing as people who use acronyms such as, um, uh, it really drives me crazy. I have a hard time concentrating when I'm talking to someone who does that. I start counting 1, 2, 3. We work with you on that. That is no different. Having an accent is no different than using those acronyms. And so problem solution. You shouldn't hide your accent. Your accent is part of the beautiful person that you are. It's just making sure that you're aware that you might pronounce things a little differently or have an emphasis a little differently. We want to make sure that everybody understands your messaging and what you're getting across. Mariana?
Excellent. Excellent. And here's the last one. How do you find open board roles nowadays?
Can you repeat that for me?
How can someone find open board roles nowadays? What is the best pathway?
Some companies will post them. Those are usually nonprofits, but the majority of open board roles you'll never know about unless you network and build your personal brand. You have to put yourself out there. You have to let everyone you know that you are looking for a board seat. And it might take some time and it might take a few interviews, but like I'm going to repeat what I said earlier, you're your best advocate. First, you demographically target what boards you want to sit on. You find people that you know in the company around those boards. You get introductions, and then you just keep reminding them. You can't be shy about it. That's where you put that jump in your step. Okay.
Wonderful.
All right.
Teresa.
Well, I hope I've answered most of your questions. I tried to. If you have other questions or you want to know more about that, please reach out to us. You can reach us at the link below, scu.edu. You can contact us. You can send an email to the Silicon Valley Executive Center, and they'll get in touch with me right away, or they'll put you with the right people. We're really excited about this program, and so we hope to see some of you there.
Perfect. Teresa, thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. Very helpful. And I would also like to thank all our attendees for joining us today. We'll make sure to share the recording with everyone, but like Teresa said, feel free to get in touch with our team directly. And I wish you all the great rest of the day. Thank you again.
All right, everyone. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Have a good one.